Okay, I'm playing this video. There's
Wait,
a video
the
of this
Smithsonian
robot.
has
The
that
Smithsonian
robot?
has the robot. Why is the world like this?
Classic Smithsonian.
We think that AI is a modern invention, but ancient texts tell a different story, from Greek automata and talking idols to the image of the beast. Civilizations have described artificial beings, thinking machines, and predictive systems for thousands of years. Today on MKUSUAL, we dive into ancient robots.
Well. Nothing new in the world. Does the thought that there are no original thoughts terrify you?
Yes,
Me too.
it does. It makes me feel like we're engineered. It makes me feel like we're robots.
Yeah, same.
Oh, so I have some examples.
I'm curious about
It's
this.
an example show. It's a list. It's a list off. The brazen heads, medieval AI assistants, several medieval scholars, including Roger Bacon and Albertus Magnus, were rumored to have built brazen or brass heads that could speak, answer questions, and predict the future.
This is like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. They like, what is the meaning of life? And they're like, you're not going to like the answer.
42.
42.
42.
So British.
That's a very British joke. Albert Magnus supposedly spent 30 years constructing a mechanical head which could respond in full sentences before being destroyed by St. Thomas Aquinas, who declared it the work of the devil. A similar device is mentioned in the Arabian Nights, where a talking robotic head warns of danger. I have to know more. St. Thomas Aquinas destroyed a robot head? Okay, I'm saying
They don't talk about this.
they don't tell you this isn't. They don't tell you this in Sunday school.
They just talk about
They don't tell you about the robot head.
Like, yeah, the God-shaped hole. That's pretty interesting, but
How about the brazen head?
dude. I mean, he's right. It is the work of the devil.
The bronze head, a medieval, early modern period. Its ownership was ascribed to late medieval scholars such as Roger Bacon, who developed a reputation as a wizard. It's made of bronze. The male head. Well, we have to gender the robot head. Can't let the robot head decide. The male head was variously mechanical or magical, like Odin's head, which is another example of Mimar in Norse paganism. It's reputed to be able to correctly answer any question put to it, although it was sometimes restricted to yes or no answers. In the 17th century, Thomas Brown considered them to be misunderstandings of scholars' alchemical work, while in modern times, Borlick argues they came to serve as a metonymy, a figure of speech for the hubris of the Renaissance intellectuals. Idris Shah devotes a chapter of the book, The Solace, to providing an interpretation of the heads of wisdom. In Chaucer's The Squire Tale, he depicts a moving bronze horse among the gifts from the Arabs and the Indian king. Comparing it to the Trojan horse, it's likely these accounts had their origin in alchemy. The early machine owners pretended to have given them life or speech. The Roman poet Virgil, in his medieval role as sorcerer, was credited with creating his own oracular head. 1245. In 1319, Renard the Fox, what a name, retold the story and may have been the first to specify that the head was made of brass. The heads were ascribed to various major figures in the 12th and 13th century Renaissance, who introduced Europe to Arabian additions, Aristotelian logic, which is what computers are made out of.
Yeah.
Oh.
If then logic.
Yes, we would not have Apple Watches without the old Aristotelian logic. I need to know more about.
I asked how big they were. It says r- most accounts describe them as life-sized,
What?
roughly the size of a human head, which would be pretty intricate metalwork.
Reports that Albert Magnus had a head with a human voice and a certain reasoning process eventually gave way to stories that he built an entire automaton who was so overly talkative that his student Thomas Aquinas destroyed it for continually interrupting his train of thought. So he killed it because it wouldn't shut up. Thomas Aquinas, first to throw his iPhone out the window.
Okay.
There's,
Okay, this is saying they were usually described as mystical, possibly animated through supernatural means, and it seems to like really downplay the level. If it were a technology, it's really trying to explain it away through.
yeah, that's an odd.
Right. You would,
That's usually you would say, "Oh, that's not magic; it's technology."
yes. I don't know. It just kind of struck me as odd. That doesn't usually happen when you ask about stuff like this.
Something was going on in the medieval. Okay, so Dr. Taylor Marshall, who's great, he has an article entitled "Have you heard of the Catholic robots?" Saint Didacus, the 1580s. King Philip II of Spain had a robot created of Saint Didacus in order to commemorate the cure of his son Don Carlos through the intercessions of the saint. In short, Don Carlos fell down some stairs and his head swelled up like a pumpkin. He went blind and lost consciousness. The corpse of Saint Didacus was brought in and the young man was healed. Philip II's robot is a walking version of the saint. The non-existent legs are hidden under the habit and the feet are automated. The mouth moves. He also strikes his chest mea culpa style. It's eerie but fascinating. The Didacus robot is now kept in the Smithsonian. Why are there? Here's the. Oh, okay. I'm playing this video. There's
Wait,
a video
the
of this
Smithsonian
robot.
has
The
that
Smithsonian has the robot. Why is the world like this?
Classic Smithsonian.
Keeping the Catholic robot. Dude. What is up? What is going on? It's just like 4 minutes. I'm probably not going to play the whole thing. Let's just look at them go.
Okay, I was curious about how it was actually moving.
It's got a bunch of clockwork. But still, I mean, you could do a lot. I mean, like we were talking about earlier, we were talking about the abacus and
Yeah.
how like computers come from the Aristotelian logic. We had computers before we had electronics, essentially. The adding machines and whatnot. So you could, if you built a complex enough, I have to download this video. This video's got to go in the show. Okay, there's a second Catholic robot. Saint Albert the Great's legendary talking head. So you think David Byrne of the 80s was the first talking head? Well, not if you believe this strange legend of Saint Albert the Great. Feast day, November 15th. According to the fable, Albert the Great created a robotic automaton in the form of a brass head that would answer. So this is just another story about the brass head. It would answer questions.
I asked examples of automatons. The Greek engineer Hero of Alexandria described various mechanical devices including self-operating temple doors, coin-operated machines, and a primitive robot theater using water and air pressure. So it would be like those movie theaters now where it like
Yeah.
there's a storm and it like shoots air at your feet or something, or like mists your feet with water when the big monster is yelling. I don't know. It's like, but this was the first century AD, which is like,
It's a long time ago.
and even like before. So like, again, advanced technology. Well, it also made me think of the Antikythera machine.
What is that?
I believe it was Greek.
Well, they had all kinds of crazy, and I think we're going to get into some of that today. There's all kinds of crazy, like, ancient computers. But, you know, back then they had a different economy. They didn't have the evening news. So, like, the rich people would own things that would just boggle your mind, you know, if
They're
you weren't.
calling it an ancient Greek analog computer, but it was discovered in a shipwreck off the coast of Antikythera, Greece. So it may not have been from Greece, but 100 to 200 BC, which is the date they've given it, was designed to predict astronomical positions, eclipses, and even the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. So it was like a astronomy calculator or calendar.
Okay.
It's interesting. Very, very advanced for what you assume, made of bronze, housed in a wooden frame.
I wonder what it is about bronze.
It's non-magnetic.
Okay.
It's also like durable, but easier to produce than certain other metals.
So
Anyway.
the Jewish people in the Old Testament, they have the teraphim,
Okay.
a small humanoid figurine used for divination and guidance. Some interpretations suggest they were early AI-like knowledge storage devices, or even pre-programmed talking idols used to communicate with the divine. In Ezekiel 21:21. King Nebuchadnezzar uses divination tools similar to AI-driven decision-making processes, consulting with teraphim as if they were interactive systems. Emil.org here, and they're the Kabbalah, says the teraphim were household gods or domestic idols used for worship at home. The Hebrews derived the use of teraphim from inhabitants of Lower Mesopotamia. They were called givers of prosperity, guardians of comfort, nourishers. Some teraphim could be hidden away in a pack or saddle. Then there's the idea of the tulpa, which rabbis would bring to life. The golem, similar to Tibetan ceremony of the dub tobos, those who have succeeded and the accomplished. The dub tobos created tulpas, a kind of robot which could be controlled at will, but sometimes can have autonomous personalities. Kabbalists look at the teraphim, which derived their power. The teraphim can also be compared to the golem. Maimonides in the 12th century said, the worshippers of the teraphim claim that as the light of the stars filled the carved statue, interesting, is put in rapport with the intelligence of those distant stars and the planets who use the statue as an instrument. So that sounds like it's like a telephone receiver or some kind of AI that's controlled by aliens.
Yeah, some type of external.
Something extraterrestrial. The stars. It has the power of the stars and the intelligence of the stars. That's a very early.
And I looked up the etymology of the word golem because I immediately thought of
Golem.
yeah, and it means shapeless mass or unformed substance. In the Bible, it refers to an unformed body or embryo, but the root carries meanings related to raw or unfinished matter. So I don't know. It sounds like Well, okay, in the Talmud, Golem describes Adam before he was given a soul, meaning a body without intellect. But yeah, I think you're right. It does sound like an antenna.
Maimonides said that the teraphim taught people many useful arts and sciences. Yeah, it sounds like an antenna. Oh, look at all these references. Genesis. Rachel had a teraphim. I have never heard this.
Yeah, same.
In Samuel, it describes, Samuel 15, it says, using the uncanny power and teraphim. The men kept teraphim in their houses. Michael had a teraphim. What is going on? Kings, Judges, Hosea?
So Pinocchio would be a golem? Or
This is after
teraphim?
an act of disloyalty that the kings would take away their teraphim. This is like, dude, this is the freaking space people giving you a little device. They made it look like a person. That is crazy. I gotta know what a teraphim looks like.
Oh, that's a good question. I was saying Mary Shelley's Frankenstein's used.
They're just little statues, but they're filled with the light and the intellect of stars. Okay, that is freaking weird.
Can you imagine if it comes to life, but it just moves like claymation looks?
Kill it
Dude,
with
I would
fire.
tear it in half immediately.
So you mentioned the Antikythera Mechanism from 1st century BC Greece, an analog computer. It was discovered in a shipwreck in 1901. An astronomical calculator capable of predicting planetary movements, eclipses, celestial events decades in advance. Scientists at the University College London determined its complexity wasn't seen again until the 14th century, making it centuries ahead of its time. Some researchers, including Dr. Tony Freeth, suggest it was not a one-of-a-kind, but part of a lost tradition of computational devices. There's also the Baghdad battery, found in Iraq, a ceramic jar covered in copper cylinder and iron rod, resembling an early voltaic cell. If correctly assembled, it could produce an electrical charge used for electroplating, medical treatments, or even powering small devices. If electricity was understood by ancient civilizations, the pyramids, could they have powered other forms of mechanical intelligences? I bring this one up a lot because I feel like it's not talked about a lot. Genesis 11 was the Tower of Babel an AI-like singularity event? Genesis describes human building a tower to heaven, and then God confuses their language to stop them. Some theorists believe this describes an information singularity where humans developed a global knowledge system that had to be shut down, which mirrors modern fears about AI, and AI reaching a point where it outpaces human control.
I mean, that's a pretty effective way to like stop progress. I've worked in kitchens for 20 years. I know very little Spanish, and that is so frustrating to like for you to be trying to solve a problem with someone you can't fully communicate your ideas to. It's so frustrating. Yeah. Good job, God.
Thanks, God. Do the internet next.
Teach us all. Yeah, we should all. Yeah, that. I don't know. To me, it's like in that context, having everyone working with a different language does create like innovation because you get to new ideas. Like you think in the language you speak kind of thing, and if you're thinking in Chinese or Mandarin versus like a Latin language, you're going to like approach things differently because that's the structure of your thought. So there is like
That's a theory in linguistics, yeah.
if understood, it would be like I don't know, it could be useful, but yeah, if we were all applying the same thought, like if everyone was working together on something, then it comes to the point of the Tower of Babel, and we do get to a point where I don't know. There's a guy who made a Lego version of the Antikythera machine.
Oh, does it work?
Yeah, it works. It's 100% functional, just like the original.
All right, airdrop this to me.
I will. And it shows like cycle of eclipses and anyway, I love Legos, so I had to bring that up.
We gotta have our Lego reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Terraform thing. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. And if it was a receiver, then you would just need like some power device to power it on. And then the people wouldn't have to worry about like charging it or having technology. You know what I mean? It'd be like if I gave a walkie-talkie to like a tribe member or something. And
right.
Like they would just like set the walkie-talkie up, and every once in a while this thing would just like talk to them. Boop. Yeah.
10-4 rubber ducky come back. But if they're powered by the stars, it could be atomic power or some form of
That's true.
able to draw energy from the ether.
They do say like the Ark of the Covenant might have had like battery properties, which could have been. Also, the Ark of the Covenant, oddly enough, I think is based on like Egyptian technology.
Okay.
So if Moses was involved at all around the time of the pyramids, and that Egypt had this advanced electrical technology, then it would make sense that one thing he would take away from that would be this battery or this power technology. So there is evidence of batteries. There's evidence of computers.
You could just put a Tesla coil in one of these things, and it would draw
electricity
from the.
Like those like solar powered lamps. I think this brings us to our final example. I want to do another show on this eventually. The image of the beast in the book of Revelation 13, chapter 13 describes a talking, thinking image of the beast that could control the world and decide who lives and dies. Some theologians believe this foreshadows AI, a future system that dictates who's allowed to function in society based on obedience. The passage also describes giving breath to the image, which sounds similar to how we create AI by feeding it data and algorithms. Could this have foreseen a world ruled by artificial intelligence? Uh-oh.
Well, I was reading something about. I want to find the guy's name. Okay, go on.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I was listening to this guy, Lee Strobel.
Yes.
He wrote the book The Case for Christ, but he talks about another guy, Dr. Daniel B. Wallace, who is forget what his doctorate was, but he says that like studying the original texts of Revelation, the book of Revelation, that the number of the beast is always 666. That's everyone associates that, but the literal the original text says the number is 616.
Yes.
Which I don't know why that's so compelling. Just to me, it's like the first thing I thought was like the devil's trick is to convince you that he doesn't exist. So it's like, look over here at this thing.
Yeah.
And if you talk about like numerology, all the 111, 222, 3, they all have like some significance and they come up blah blah blah. And so it may be innocent. And now I sound like I'm convincing people that the devil doesn't exist, but like I don't know, maybe it's just like I don't know. I don't really have a.
Wait, yeah.
It's just like well, that's it. It's just like maybe something that could be innocent or useful is like has been perverted or associated to like I don't know.
It is an odd story for someone to see in a vision.
Right.
So I guess Revelation 13 focuses on the actions of the second beast, which deceives the inhabitants of earth by performing great signs, convincing them to create an image of the first beast. This image, mysteriously brought to life, speaks and exercises power. The vivid depiction of a false living image that demands worship has long been interpreted as a warning against idolatry. However, in an age of rapid technological advancements, particularly the development of artificial intelligence, these ancient prophecies take on a new, unsettling purpose. This is coming from Douglas C. Vaughn, AI and the Beast, exploring the prophetic parallels between Revelation 13 and technology. I got this on ResearchGate from August 2024. The creation of the image is a key element in the passage. This image is not a mere statue or idol, but something imbued with lifelike qualities. It's said to be brought to life by the second beast. Oh.
You could take that a lot of ways, like a pattern of behavior. Yeah, it could be literal. It could be, yeah.
This is interesting. So
First word that came to mind was egregore, but that's kind of different, maybe. Or like egregore, not demiurge. There's another word I'm trying to think of.
egregore tulpa. But this would be what they've done. If you like this type of stuff, go back, look at our smart cities episode. Didn't we do something else about this topic?
Yes.
I mean, this week we're going to have an episode on chips in our brain. But this is essentially, I mean, an image of somebody that has a mind of its own. I mean, that sounds like a robot. Or at the very least, one of these AI talking head type things you can create. I mean, they already have, there's some website. Oh my gosh. I shouldn't have opened my mouth, but there's a website that I used to go to randomly where it is, who's that German Herzog? He's a director.
Oh, Werner Herzog.
There's a website where an AI version of him is in an endless conversation with like another philosopher. And I can't remember who it is. Hilarious. But you can literally just any time of day go to this website and just listen to Werner Herzog talk to this other a virtual avatar, realistic simulation are becoming more sophisticated, allowing AI to create lifelike digital representations. Well, who's the computer guy who says we're going to put our brains in computers? It's man, he's like very famous.
Ray Kurzweil.
Yes.
Yeah.
He says we're going to transfer our consciousness to computers. Okay, so let's say you have the beast, and I think the beast gets like a head injury. There's like an assassination attempt or something bad happens, and then there's a second beast. So like this could describe a future where you upload someone's consciousness into like an AI double. Which, if the belief system is right in the society, you would consider to be like an immortal version. We already have people that believe this today. That would be, if I put your brain in a computer, which I think is impossible. You might be able to create like a digital copy, but it wouldn't be you.
There was a show I watched, Altered Carbon.
Yes.
Did you see that show?
Yes.
Where everyone has like, they call it the stack or whatever, but it's like, yeah, essentially that, where it's like your consciousness and all your memories, so but you can be put into whatever body. And then like Edgar Allan Poe runs a hotel. There's like all these old consciousnesses that have been programmed.
I forgot about Edward Allan Poe.
Yeah.
But this is this is the kind of ethos of our time, is that Ray Kurzweil says immortality by 2045, but his version of immortality is putting your brain in a computer. But then also, like, dude, all this talk of tyranny and stuff, like this, the type of system that believes this stuff, it's like so spiritually dead that you think you can just like make a copy of yourself. That's the type of system who will listen to that AI.
Mm-hmm. Well, I brought up egregore, and it's like, it refers to the Book of Enoch and the Watchers, but in like a more general, like taken to, in occult traditions, they take it to mean a thought form created by collective willpower, particularly in groups, organizations, or rituals. So it's like, it's not literally like manifesting an entity, but it is. It's like,
yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, that's
You know
kind of
what I'm
what that's
saying?
kind of what AI is, because
yes, that's
it trains on us.
right. So it's going to be like the at best the lowest common denominator. So it's going to like reduce humanity to collective ideas, and I don't know.
Yes. I never thought of it in that way. AI is an egregore. In a way,
A psychic force created by rituals, emotions, and beliefs. So if you were programming a whole society, you would create this like entity that would be a representation of all of those, of all that behavior in a collective.
yeah.
I don't know.
Who can say what's right or wrong? Well, if you are a sentient robot, to me, somehow, all this talk about the end of the world and the beast, to me, the freakiest thing is that monk. That video of that monk. That weirds me out. Why would you want that? Why would you want that?
And that was what, from the 1500s? Or
Yes.
was that, okay, yeah. So that's crazy.
You know, they talk about breakaway societies and stuff. Like, there could be robot people among us if it's funded by enough, black money.
So Jared, shout out Jared. He always is on. Loves movies. Is always telling me to watch certain movies, and he was like, kept telling me to watch the original Terminator, which was made in 1984. And there's a line in it where Kyle Reese, the guy who sent back to like stop the Terminator, it's like, yeah, the computer, they achieved a new order of intelligence, which I thought was an interesting choice of words. And there's also a scene where Sarah O'Connor's roommate is being killed by the Terminator, and her answering machine, the message is like, oh yeah, just leave a little message for me, just don't mind me.
Oh, I remember that.
It's like the machines need love too, and then like the Terminator is killing her while her answering machine is saying that. I was like, I don't know. The new order of intelligence was interesting because that was in 1984, and I don't even know. Obviously, this is an old idea, so the thing that weirds me out is like we're coming to these realizations and understanding this, or I am, and through the internet. I wasn't at the library digging through books and going to a university and getting access to the library and finding these old texts and becoming a Catholic priest and getting access to the like all these old. So where how did we get these ideas? And then like, oh, they had a tulpa or whatever, a teraphim or whatever. Like maybe those things are still, maybe those things existed. I mean, they didn't stop existing.
Yeah. Well, if it really worked.
Right. That yes, if it really worked, then maybe some billionaire had one, and you become friends with him. He's like, let me show you this thing.
Let me show you my freaky talking star statue.
Yeah. It's like, oh no, that's just like a little clay figure. And it's like, your wife has been cheating on you, Dave.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
like and subscribe. If you're already subscribed, tell a friend. We love you.
love you.